So if I work for Disney, which I don't, I think I have a few ideas I'd love to run by Kathleen Kennedy or the story group or whoever it is that takes these meetings for new Star Wars ideas. Actually, I think we all have a lot of things that we'd love to talk about with Kathleen Kennedy of the story group for the franchise going forward. And since the Skywalker saga has closed up shop for the foreseeable future, I think it's a good idea as fans to start thinking about what we'd like to see out of Lucasfilm for the foreseeable future. I currently have 6 things on my mind for Disney to do. Some are pretty nearsighted, and some are a big undertaking. But I don't think it's a bad thing that we ask Disney to continue striving to put out quality content for us, even going into the future. Okay, and as always, please leave your comments below and talk about what you want to see with Disney and Lucasfilm coming up in the next few years.
Number 6. The Empire Strikes Back from a certain point of view. 3 years ago, for the 40th anniversary of A New Hope, Del Rey Publishing released From a Certain Point of View, and it's currently one of the most unique and enjoyable pieces of reading I've come across for Star Wars in the last few years. 40 different writers, some we know like Claudia Gray and E.K. Johnston, and some that will be playing a bigger role in the franchise going forward like Cavan Scott, wrote 40 different short stories from the point of view of 40 different characters from A New Hope. If you're a sucker for little canon tidbits and great quick stories, it's worth a read for sure. However, this year's the 40th anniversary of The Empire Strikes Back, and I would be thrilled to get another From a Certain Point of View book based around that movie. The Empire Strikes Back is my favorite Star Wars movie, and I think there's so many stories yet to be told from Echo Base, or Bespin, or the mythic force around Yoda's hut. I haven't heard anything about this sort of thing coming out, but I know myself and many others are anxiously waiting for that day. Number 5. Luke writing his book on Jedi history as seen in The Rise of Skywalker. I think the one piece of the Rise of Skywalker lore that intrigued me more than anything was Luke's book he wrote on the Jedi and finding Exegol. Rey is flipping through the book at multiple points during the movie, and it's a crucial part of how they find their way to the Emperor's Wayfinder in the Death Star ruins. I really want to know how Luke wrote the book, and who he talked to, and the places he went doing research to write it. I think that'd be a great way to also write about his and Lando's search for the Jedi killer Ochi of Bestoon. I said in a previous video that I don't think a new Luke Skywalker will be casted in the near future, just because of the massive undertaking that would be. So I think this story would be great if it was told in a trilogy of novels. The novel trilogies seem to be pretty hot right now since Thrawn is getting another one and the Alphabet Squadron books are continuing this summer. I think it's time we start thinking about getting someone to write this new trilogy. Number 4. A brand new trilogy of movies, preferably before Episode 1. Speaking of new trilogies, let's talk about where Star Wars should go next with their movies. There is a movie slated to come out December 16th of 2022, which sounds like a long time from now, but I assure you production is well underway. Rian Johnson, amongst others, was a director set to have his own trilogy, and that was announced even before The Last Jedi came out. I hope that if it is his new trilogy, that it's set during the time of the High Republic. That seems to be Lucasfilm's newest direction, and I absolutely love it. I already have many of the books pre-ordered. It's a wide-open blank slate, and it'll be perfect to begin a new trilogy. I have no idea what it would be about, nor do I really care at the moment. I want to be surprised with the story, and I don't want to have any preconceived ideas about what I think it should be. That kind of stuff leads to letdowns. I just hope it pushes boundaries and introduces new things about the Force we haven't seen before. Okay, number 3 is Jedi Fallen Order 2. It's gotta happen, I don't care. At the moment, there's no public plans to start work on the sequel, but the sooner they say something, the better. This was the best story in a Star Wars game that's really ever been told. It was touching and wonderful and mystical and all of the above. Spoilers for the game if you haven't played it yet coming up. Since they all live, there's no choice but to start work on the second game. I know it seems silly that just because people live means they deserve another story, but this one's justified. They just survived a fight to the death with Darth Vader. Cal's a new Jedi Knight. Cere continues to wrestle with the dark side, and Merrin has devoted herself to fighting alongside Cal, and I just want to see more. The first game was great, the story was great, the fights were great, the customization was good, but the replayability is just not there. I want to get through the game again, but knowing there isn't much else to do besides collect lightsaber parts and ponchos and watch a good story, it's kind of weighing me down. So, there's always room for improvement, and there's a story to be told. They gotta make this one happen. Number 2. What's next for Rey, Finn, Poe, Chewbacca, and the Resistance? This one should go without saying. I know it won't be in a movie or show form, but I'm already dying to see where these guys go next. How does Rey cope with the death of Ben Solo and begin to train a new Jedi Order? Does Finn decide he wants to be a Jedi like Rey, or does he continue to be a leader in the Resistance? How does Poe continue Leia's legacy as a general? What kind of adventures does Chewbacca go on with Rey, or does he finally return home to Kashyyyk after so many years at war? Where does the Resistance go now? Is it time to start to establish power in the galaxy? And who leads them? I could go on and on and on, but those are just a few of the things that we've yet to find out with these new characters. This is probably something that won't be done for a little while. With The Mandalorian, the upcoming Cassian Andor show in 2021, and the Obi-Wan show the year after that, it seems like Disney has their eyes set on the Empire versus the Rebellion for the near future. Not to mention the first phase of all the High Republic content going out this year, it might be a while before we see Rey and company again. Okay, number 1, the Star Wars Rebels sequel show. This is by and large my number 1 most wanted thing I'd love to see next. It's a distant rumor at best, and there's been absolutely zero verifiable confirmation that anyone's even talked about starting this. But there's no doubt in my mind that Ahsoka and Sabine searching the galaxy for Ezra and Thrawn would be an absolute thrill ride. I can see it now. Ahsoka and Sabine searching to get Ezra back to rebuild the Jedi Order, while the Imperial Remnant searches to get Grand Admiral Thrawn back to rebuild the broken Empire. Maybe Thrawn contacts the Chiss Ascendancy and lets them know the Empire is now vulnerable, and they can go out and search for him in hopes to gain power in a galaxy with an infant government. This show would be a great way to show what other characters from Rebels have been up to as well. How is Hera handling leading a fleet? What are Kallus and Zeb up to on Lyrasan? And what role has Rex filled in the Rebellion? I don't know anyone that doesn't want to see what's next for the characters of Star Wars Rebels, and that's why it takes my number 1 spot. Like I said earlier, I want to know what you want to see from Lucasfilm in the near future too. Leave your suggestions in the comments, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.